Whoa, what's going on, people? You're now tuned into a brand new episode of Locker Room Sports Talk Media. Today, I want to get into this whole Julian Edelman Hall of Fame debate that's been raging on social media platforms for the better part of the past 24 hours. I kind of went back and forth with myself about actually making this video and putting it out because I actually respect Julian Edelman and I like his whole story arc. You know, from him being a college quarterback and being drafted in the final round on the NFL draft in 2009, and then being asked to switch positions from quarterback to wide receiver, and just having the odds stacked against him and overcoming those to carve out a nice little career for himself. All that being said, I don't think he's a Hall of Fame caliber player, and I'm gonna lay out why in my next couple of points. First and foremost, for his career, Julian Edelman has a little bit over 6,800 receiving yards, which all time I believe ranks 156. While that's not terrible, it's not great either. And again, we're talking about getting into the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Good. And ranking 156 all time in one of the biggest, one of the most important categories, that's just not good enough. So that's first and foremost. My second point is, for his career, he has, I want to say, 620 receptions, which again, it's not terrible, it's not bad, but it's not really, well, it's kind of upper echelon, but you got to also think about the system that Edelman played in. For the lack of a better term, he was a security blanket for Tom Brady for most of his career. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say that's all he was. Like, was a guy that ran out and caught 5-yard slants and like little curveballs, stuff like that. But that was basically his main responsibility in the Patriots offense, was to be a security blanket and to be a first down getter. On third and medium or second and short or second and medium, it was his job to go across the middle, catch those passes, and fight for extra yards or get first down. So, of course, when you do all that, naturally you're going to rack up a ton of yards. I mean, not a ton of yards, but a ton of receptions. And to further my point, when he played in the NFL for 10 years, well, technically 11, but he got hurt one year in the preseason and couldn't play. But like I said, over his 10 years playing, he had 620 receptions. That averages out to be about 60 catches a year, give or take. And again, that's not great. Like, it's not phenomenal. When you think of upper echelon receivers, these guys regularly have 80, 90, 100 catches per season. And I want to say for the course of his career, Julian Edelman only surpassed 100 receptions maybe twice. Possibly 3 times, but when I looked at his stats, I think it was twice he had over 100 receptions. So again, you got guys that play football at a higher level. They have 5, 6 consecutive years when he has 100 catch seasons, and he only has 2 or 3 over the course of 9 years, or over the course of 10 years. Like, that's just not good enough. So those are my main 2 points why I feel like he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. My third point is, like, when you think of Hall of Fame caliber receivers, you think of guys that, went to multiple Pro Bowls, got voted to the All-Pro team several times. Y'all want to know how many times Julian Edelman made the Pro Bowl?
0.
Do y'all want to know how many times he got voted to the All-Pro team?
0.
Exactly. You can't get into the Hall of Fame if you never made the Pro Bowl or you never got voted to the All-Pro team. Like, he never did it, not once. So that's bam. Like, no, man, you not, no. That's unacceptable. You can't get into the Hall of Fame if your career accolades don't measure up. Like, some of his accolades is being voted to the NFL top 100 players list like 2 or 3 times, and he barely scratched the surface. He was like ranked like 90, 85, 75, like stuff like that. So again, to me, That's just not good enough. So now that we got his stats out the way, you know, I see a lot of people talking about, well, you know, what about him in the playoffs? You know, in the playoffs, only Jerry Rice has more career receptions. Again, when you play for the Patriots and you make the playoffs damn near every year of your career, and you making deep playoff runs, of course you're going to accumulate a lot of catches. So that's neither here nor there. If you put me in the Patriots offense and I go to the playoffs every year and get to the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl damn near every time, I'm going to accumulate a lot of fucking catches too. So I don't want to say anybody could do it, but that's not that hard to do when you play in that system. And Edelman is just a great system receiver. Again, I don't want to take nothing from him, but he's not an elite receiver. And to further that point, I'm going to ask y'all a question. Over the course of his 10-year career, when have y'all ever heard of a defensive back or a defensive coordinator saying, oh, fuck, we better double team Julian Edelman before he blasts us? 0-0. Exactly. It's never happened. Like, nobody not double teaming no fucking Julian Edelman, like to stop them from winning the game. Like that's ludicrous, dog. I don't know what y'all people thinking, but to sit here and suggest that he's a Hall of Fame player is asinine. I mean, you have players like Steve Smith, you got players like Andre Johnson, Reggie Wayne, Brandon Marshall, Anquan Bolden, who are, you know, surefire Hall of Famers. And you got other players like Hines Ward, Derek Mason. As much as I hate to admit it because he played for the Falcons, you can even make a case that Roddy White has a better claim to the Hall of Fame than Julian Edelman. You also have guys like Donald Driver, Rod Smith. It's a whole bunch of receivers that has a better claim to get in the Hall of Fame than Julian Edelman. So even players like Marcus Colston that plays for my favorite team, the Saints, like a lot of those guys are not in the Hall of Fame. Even people like Andre Rison, like those guys are not in the Hall of Fame, and they all have a better case to be in than Julian Edelman. And how can I forget Torrey Holt? Like, I just named like 10, 11 guys that should be in the Hall of Fame that's not, who are all better than Julian Edelman, and they're not in the Hall of Fame. Even Hines Ward. So some of those guys are going to get in the Hall of Fame. Others may or may not. But it's just, for y'all to sit here and suggest that he should be in the Hall of Fame is just crazy to me. But again, man, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Like and share this video. And aside from that, man, I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.